सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। How was the discussion? Good? Okay, what are the subjects you discussed? Dharma. Dharma Shastra. So last class we tried to understand how Sanatana Dharma explains the Avatara, explains the Ishvara Tattva. So we saw that there are Sanatana Dharma looks into this great principle of Ishvara from three different levels. One is Nirguna Nirakara, Saguna Nirakara, Saguna Sakara. In Saguna Sakara, we saw that there are three different aspects. One is this entire universe. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjalanidhi Shantam Upasita. Tajjam Tanlam Tannam. Everything came from it, everything exists in it, everything goes back into it. So, this entire universe is nothing but Brahman. And then we said that came the last, which is a very unique concept of our Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. What is that? Avataraha. It's a very unique and very important aspect of our Dharma. What is that? Avataraha. Avataraha. Avataraha, avatarati is the dhatu, taira dhatu. Avatarati, there are two meanings. One is to come down. Avatarati means to step down from that Purna Ishwaratva. When the Lord stepped down into this plane of, transactional reality. When the Lord takes up a body, then we call that as avatara. So what is avatara? Avatara, the word meaning is actually avatarati, means to come down, to step down. Means what? The Lord who is this, the Lord of this universe, he steps down. Means what? He steps down so that he will be able to help us. So avatara means what? To step down. Now there is a second meaning of avatara. Avatara means drishti gocharata praptihi. Drishti gocharata praptihi avatara. What is avatara? Avatara means he comes to this transactional reality. Means what? We will be able to see him, we will be able to, interact with the Lord. So what is Avatara? Avatara is that where the Lord comes down so that we will be able to interact with the Lord. So what is Avatara? Avatara is Drishti Gocharata Prapti of Bhagavan, the Supreme Self. Okay. Now, why Bhagavan? Now, how Bhagavan? Why Bhagavan? Why should he do all this? There is in Bhakti Shastra, there is a definition says, see, Avataraha Anirvachaniyaha. Why Bhagavan is taking this avatara, etc., is Anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam, which cannot be explained with our logical thinking. But if you say it's cannot be explained, then that wouldn't come under the purview of the Shastra. Okay? So then we say if it is Anirvachaniyam, but what it is? Says it is Leela Surupatvad. What is Avatara? Avatara is Bhagavan's Leela. What is the meaning of Leela? Leela? A play. Leela means play. Leela Shabda, different meanings. One, Lalityatvad Leela. Lalityam. What is the meaning of Lalityam? Simplicity. Lalityam in Malayalam we use, which is very simple. No? Actually, Lalityam means Manoharita. That's why sometimes in Kathakali we have Lalita. The woman's form is known as Lalita because Manoharita. So, Lalityam means what? Manoharita. So, what is Bhagavan's Leela? Leela means not only play, Leela means the Manoharitayaha Avishkaranam. What is the Leela of Bhagavan? The beauty of the Lord is actually manifest. So, what is Leela? Leela means the manifestation of beauty of Lord. Suppose, the Lord is always that supreme reality which cannot be comprehended by our mind, then it is not possible for us to connect with the Lord. So, what He does, He manifests Himself. There is great beauty in that manifestation. This is not only from Purana. When we read the Upanishads, etc., Kenopanishad is an Upanishad which is directly attacking, which is like one-pointed Upanishad. But you will see that in the Kenopanishad, in the third Adhyaya, there is the story of the Yaksha. In the first and second chapter, Navacha Nabhyudam Yenavagabhyudare, Yadedam Nedam Yadidum Upasyada, etc. like this, that cannot be comprehended. Natatravagachadi Navano Navitmo Navijanimo. Very high philosophy is said. Then comes in the third chapter that this Brahma appears as a Yaksha. And then it teaches the Devatas. So that is known as Avatara. So that is because its Lalityam is there in Bhagavan. Leela means what? Lalitya, Sundarata. Now, the moment to an Indian mind, the moment you hear the word Sundarata, whom do you remember? Krishna. Now, the moment you hear that absolute beauty, the moment we hear, we remember Krishna. Why? That is the Saundarya of Bhagavan. So, what is this Avatara? Avatara means what? Manifestation of the beauty. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. The Sundaradayaha Avishkaranam. The manifestation of Saundarya is Lalityam. Then says, what is Leela? Mahatmya Spurtihi. What is Leela? What do you mean by Leela? Leela of Bhagavan? Mahatmya Spurti. Spurti means what? Manifestation again of His greatness. His great powers of the Lord manifest. We hear about Bhagavan, 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 etc., etc. But how are we going to experience it? Unless the powers of Lord manifest. So what is Leela? Leela means Mahatmya Spurti. Means what? The manifestation of the Mahatmya of Lord. Aishwaryasya samagrasya Viryasya yashasashriyah Jnana vairagyayoschaiva Shannam bhaga idirana. We say, no, the Aishwarya, the complete Ishwarata. No, the knowledge, the valor, the beauty, all those manifest. So that's why Bhagavan, Avatara means what? Leela. Leela means what? Not just a play, it is the manifestation of the greatness of Lord. Now comes the third meaning. What is Leela? Saulabhyatvad. Saulabhyata Leela. What is Leela? Saulabhyata. What is Saulabhyam? Sulabhata. Becomes very easy to comprehend. Suppose God is such a thing, Bhagavan never incarnates. Think, how can we even think about Lord? You know, the Sulabhada, if we want to get connected with the Lord, what should be there? The Leela should be there. What is that Leela? He becomes very common. You know, he is there, Sulabh. And very easy to to achieve. He becomes so like Karatala Malaka. When Leela happens, when Avatara, Bhagavan takes the Avatara, then it is easy for us to approach Him. Whom? The Supreme Truth. If you think that Supreme Truth never manifests, it is impossible for us to even know what is that Supreme Reality. So, when we say how is the connection? Avatara. What is Avatara? They say Avataras are Anirvachaniyam. What do you mean by Anirvachaniyam? Leela Rupatvat. Bhagavan's Leela. What is Leela? Leela means the manifestation of beauty, the manifestation of His strength and prowess, and the easy way to approach the Lord. Clear? Now, okay. If this is Leela, Avatara, how many Avataras are there?
So many.
Avatara hi asankhyayaha. We can't count Avataras. No, Dashavatara we always say of Mahavishnu. Then in the Bhagavad it said 24 Avataras are explained, and then they conclude, we can't count. Avatara happens whenever, wherever. No, yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tada atmanam. Whenever there is a need for the Lord to manifest, He manifests. So how many Avataras are there? Asankhyayaha, countless. So many. Nobody will be able to count them. Okay. But Shastra says there are 8 types of Avataras. Not number, types of Avataras. 8 തരത്തിലുള്ള അവതാരങ്ങളുണ്ട്. എത്ര അവതാരങ്ങളുണ്ട് കണക്കാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. പക്ഷെ എത്ര തരത്തിലുണ്ട്? 8 വിധത്തിൽ. There are 8 types of Avataras. What are they? Let us see. First one is known as Guna Avatara. Let us first enumerate, then we will write. First one is Gunavatara. Second is known as Amsha Avatara. Third is known as Kala Avatara. Fourth one is known as Jnana Avatara. Fifth one is known as Spurti Avatara. Sixth one is known as Archa Avatarah. Then seventh is known as Avesha Avatarah. And the eighth one is known as Purna Avatarah. And there's a ninth one, can't actually call it nine, but sometimes Shastra says that also as Nitya. Nitya Avatara. So 8 plus 1, okay, that's better to say. 8 plus 1 avatars are there. First, what is first one? Guna Avatara. The manifestation of supreme truth. Ishvara, what we studied as Saguna Nirakara. That Saguna Nirakara Ishvara manifest as Gunavatara. Gunavatara means one guna of the Lord Supreme, not of Lord, of the Shakti of Lord manifest as Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. So what is Gunavatara? Bhagavan himself, the Supreme Self, manifests himself or herself or itself through his Shakti. So when Sattva is Pradhana, then that Ishvara is known as Vishnu. When Rajas is Pradhana, then we call him Brahma. When Tamas is Pradhana, then we call him Rudra, not Shiva. Okay? Shiva is Sattva. Rudra is Tamas. What are you talking? Suppose there is a light. Okay? Now you take a yellow glass and look at the light. You will see that the light is yellow. Then you take another red one. Oh, it's a red light. Then you take a blue, then we call it blue light. Actually, light is neither blue, red or yellow. Only with our glass we feel that there is colors. Like that, Bhagavan Saguna Nirakara Ishvara is Ishvara. When Sattva is projected in him, then we call as Vishnu. I will come to that again. This is as an avatar. Then when Rajoguna, red color is projected, then we call him. When blue color is projected, then we call him Rudra. Okay? Now. So now, let us stop here. From Avatara, we go to Ishvara. I told you before itself, Ishvara is Saguna Nirakara. Saguna Nirakara manifests as three. One Devata, two Virat, third Avatara. Now, Saguna Sakara Ishvara. Okay, so that Saguna Nirakara only manifests as Saguna Sakara. Okay, so there are three levels in that. So now if I am meditating Bhagavan as Shiva, as Shuddha Sattva, then that is not Avatara. That is not Avatara. That is Ishvara. Okay, now you are meditating Devi. I want to meditate that Saguna Sakara Bhagavan as Devata. I want to meditate as Devi. Then that is not Avatara. Please understand these two differences. Sometimes if you don't understand this, lots of confusion comes. Shiva is, sometimes we think Shiva is, then we meditate him Shiva as, this is not. See, whatever we are talking is as an avatar. When he is ready to dissolve this universe, he is Rudra. But same principle as Ishvara is Shiva. So Shiva Tattva, when I worship, I am a worshipper of Shiva, and for me Shiva is the supreme God. So who creates the world? Shiva creates the supreme. Who sustains the world? Shiva. One who do the Tirodhana? Shiva. One who do the Anugraha? Shiva. One who does the Laya? Shiva. That is as the Devata, Ishvara. Now what we are talking as Avatar, manifestation. Please understand, okay? Here when we say Guna Avatara, means manifestation. That's why sometimes when we read Puranas, we get so much of confused. Understand, there they are talking about Gunavataras. Sometimes they are talking about Ishvara. So we should always have this, or in here, no, we should have these two scales. Understand, okay, here Bhagavan is said as the Ishvara. Here Bhagavan is said as an Avatara, manifestation. Then will not be having any, will come for this again, okay. So there is Gunavatar. Then comes Amsha Avatara. What is the meaning of Amsha? Amsha means what? Part. Amsha means part. One part of the Lord manifest. One part, no, of Lord manifest, and that is known as Amsha Avatara. Like Nrihari, Nrsimha Swami. Nrsimha is Amsha Avatara. See, Bhagavan is only coming for one, he came for one purpose. That purpose was fulfilled. And Bhagavan disappeared. He came, he killed the Hiranyakashipu, blessed the Prahlada, and then he disappeared. Only one Amsha of Bhagavan. So that's known as Amsha Avatara. Next become Kala. Kala means Shakti of Lord. Kala. One Kala, one Shakti of Lord appears. Like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. They are one Kala. One Kala means one small power of Lord. One chotasa. Just came for one purpose. That's it. That why Nrsimha also like. See, there is a interesting thing. Please listen. Although Bhagavan came, Nrsimha, he did one thing, and then Nrsimha became two. Do you know that? Nrsimha was split into two. The Nra aspect became Nara, and Simha aspect became Narayana. So Naranarayana, you know that Naranarayanas? Naranarayanas are actually Nrsimha Swami, who became two. So that's why Bhagavan Samsya keeps on, they still there as Rishis. Now, Kala is only not like that. Kala is just came for a purpose, completed the purpose. Chota sa Shakti of Lord. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, these are all Shakti of Lord. That is Kala Avatar. Now, next comes Jnana Avatara. Jnana Avatara means what? It's not to come to kill or nothing. He come to teach. Can you tell me one Jnana Avatara of Bhagavan? Vyasa. Veda Vyasaha, Shankaracharyaha, Dakshinamurti, Tulasida, Dattatreya. Now in Purana, we see, if you have read Bhagavat, Hamsavatar. You heard it? In Bhagavatam, no, there is a Hamsavatar. Kapil Muni, Kapila Avatara. These are all Jnana Avatara. Bhagavan himself, he is coming here to spread the knowledge. He comes here, why he is incarnating? Only to spread knowledge. Veda Vyasa, Kapila, they are all Jnana Avatara of Bhagavan. Then comes Spurti. Spurti means what? Mahatmya. The greatness of Lord. What is the greatness of Lord? What is the greatness of Lord? What is the Mahatmya of Lord? Bhagavante Mahatmya എന്താ? ഐശ്വര്യാദികള് ശരിക്കുള്ള മഹാത്മ്യം എന്താ? Compassion. Love. Yeah. You know what is the real Spurti, Mahatmya, greatness of Lord is his devotees. Bhagavan says, my real Mahatmya, how you know that I am great? Because I have got bhaktas. Now, what is the Spurti of Bhagavan? Bhagavan's Spurti is Bhagavan's devotees, Bhaktaha. That's why that 10th chapter of Bhagavan, Bhagavad Gita. Now, all those Vibhuti say, no, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. That's all spurti of Lord. No, Devarshinam Chanaradaha. No, Prahladashasmi Daityanam. No, so all among everyone, there is something. No, great. All those greatness is the spurti of the Lord. Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam srimad urjitamevava tattadevavagachatvam mamam tejomsa sambhava. That is known as spurti avatara. What is spurti? The greatness of Lord manifesting in this world. So even Himalaya is also spurti of Bhagavan. No, ocean is also spurti of Bhagavan. That is known as the Mahatmya, spurti of the Lord. Okay, so Bhagavan himself is manifesting in this world as the devotees, as great beings and things also, like Himalaya and Sagar and all that. Now comes a very interesting thing known as Archavatara. What is Archavatara? Archavatara means in order to worship Lord, we invoke the presence of Lord in one Vigraha, in Salagramadi, etc. How we do puja? In order to do puja, we do the Avahana. Before do the puja, what we should do? Avahana should be done. So, when you do Avahana into a Murti, then for that period, there will be a special presence of Lord in that Murti. That is known as Archavatara. Archana, that avatara for the worship of Lord by His grace. That's what Leela. By His grace, He is actually present. He actually, a manifestation of Lord is present in the Murti. That's why in our temples, etc., Pradishtha, Punapradishtha, so much of stages are there, steps are there. Why? If we do actually all those steps, what is the difference between our puja and temple puja? We'll come to that when we. So in temple, what happens is, once the Lord is invoked, Bhagavan is there in that Murti. In here, when we do puja, after puja, what we do? Uddhasana. Before you should do puja, before puja, what we should do? Avahan. Then after the puja is over, Uddhasana. We have to take back Bhagavan into our heart. From where Bhagavan is coming? From our heart. From where he is going? Back to our heart. So that is known as Archavatara. Archavatara, the manifestation of Lord in Vigraha, etc. for worship. Next, known as Avesha Avatara. Avesha Avatara means, in order to fulfill a thing, the Lord enters into a person. Lord mane, a Shakti of the Lord enters into a person for a specific time. That is known as Avesha Avatara. Can you give me one example for Avesha Avatara? Who is that? Parashurama. Parashurama went to the Narayana Tirtham and was doing meditation, and those days this Heheyas, Kala, this is his name, Kala. His name was Kartavira Arjuna. Kartavira Arjuna becoming so strong, and Bhagavan wanted to settle all that, and all the Kshatriyas were becoming too proud and adharmic. So what happened when Parashurama was meditating in the Narayana Tirtha, Bhagavan entered. Means Bhagavan's Shakti entered into him. And when after, so he killed and destroyed all these adharmic forces, and when he met Sri Ramachandra, that Shakti went back to Sri Ramachandra. So that is known as Avesha Avatara. Bhagavan's Avesha come to. You might have seen, sometimes in villages, etc., oracles, Komaram, Malangila, നമ്മളെന്താ പറയുക, വെളിച്ചപ്പാട്. ചിലർ ചുമ്മാ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവും, ചിലർക്ക് ശരിക്കും ചിലപ്പോൾ തെയ്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉത്തരഭാരതത്തിലെ തെയ്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചില സമയങ്ങളിൽ ശരിക്കും അവരിൽ ആ ദൈവികമായ ഭാവങ്ങൾ വരാറുണ്ട്. അതിനെയാണ് ആവേശം എന്ന് പറയുക. So in some time, even people also, for some short period, a divine power come to them. And they can actually predict the future, they can do all those things. So it's a small thing, but when it becomes Bhagavan's power, when actually enters for a short period, for some long period, then that is known as Avesha Avatara. Then comes Purna Avatara. What is Purna Avatara? Bhagavan's the entire power and prowess and of Lord manifest into this world. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Sri Ramachandra and Sri Krishna. There are anyhow Sri Ramachandra Upadesh, they believe that Sri Ramachandra is Purna Avatar and Krishna is Purna Avatar. Okay, so we let us take both, we don't have any. So Sri Ramachandra and Sri Krishna, both of them are known as Purna Avatar. Means the complete power of Lord is with them. What do you mean by the complete power of the Lord? Means they can do all this. Guna is there, Amshatva is there, Kalatva is there, Jnanam is there, Spurti is there. No, they can manifest in Archavatara also, Avesha, they can bless people, so they can do great things. All this Shakti, they say there are 16 colors, 16 powers with the Lord. All those 16 powers when manifest, then that is known as Purna Avatar. All the 16 color, 16 powers when manifest, it becomes Purna Avatar. Then comes, this is 8 avatars, there's one more. So Nitya Avatara. What is Nitya Avatara? All of us. In the sense, say Ishwaraha Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. As Jiva, Bhagavan is Nitya Avatara. As the reality of Jiva, let us say like that. As the reality of Jiva, Bhagavan is Nitya Avatara. So who are walking now? Nitya Avatara is walking. That's why when we actually see Bhagavan in any person, that person may not know that he is God, but if we see Lord in him and worship, we will be blessed. No, the Shivajnane Jiver Seva or Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. This is not just Madhava Seva, it's not just an attitude. If we really see that Bhagavan is there in a person and you worship, that person may not have benefited, we will be benefited. See, if we can worship Lord in one Vigraha, which is Achetana, why can't we worship him in Sachetana? So, in that aspect, Bhagavan is Nitya Avatara. Bhagavan is always there. So, these are the 9 or 8 plus 1, because Nitya Avatara, when we say, then sometimes we don't. So, 8 plus 1 avatars are there in our culture. It's not 9 avatars, okay? 9 types of avatara. Let us say, no 9 avatars, 9 types of avatara. Amma, Hariya. It is actually more prominent in the Puranas, Itihasa Purana and little bit of Tantric, because in Veda, not much, these aspects are not that much explained to us. That how we look at him. We can look at him as Bhagavan himself, Purna Avatara also. So we are coming to next topic is Guru. Okay, then we will come there.
Why only Lord Krishna is considered as Purna Avatara by many?
That you should ask them. See, I will tell you how. See, that's what I am trying to tell you. See, I mean, Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra and Bhagavan Sri Krishna, most of the people are worship as Purnavatara. Now there are people like Krishna Upasakas, they feel because there is a word, there is a line in Bhagavad says Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Okay, so the Vaishnava Parampara, they say that Bhagavan, there are all 16 kalas in Sri Krishna, and they say in Sri Ramchandra only 14 kalas are there. They say, okay, but it is not, there are many great saints who worship Bhagavan, like Ramdas Maharaj and all of them who worship Bhagavan as Purna Avatar. This is only the Sri Krishna cult feels that Krishna is Purna and Rama is 14 kalas. Because they say, what they say is, in Sri Krishna you see that again and again and again this Aishwarya Shakti is manifesting. At a small baby, onwards, from third day onwards, this Aishwarya Shakti manifestation is there. Like Putana Moksha and all those things, and then this what you call the Govardhana Uddharana, small baby. But in Sri Ramchandra's life, we don't see such Aishwarya. It's not that he doesn't have, but they are not much manifested in Sri Ramchandra's life. So these people say that but it's not so. Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra is also Purnavatara. It is even said in Bhagavad itself also, in 9th, Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra is Purnavatara. But always we have a little bit of, when I like Krishna, I say no. But that's all. Okay. Anything else about this? We'll come back to this, explain this, but now words, etc. Clear?
You say the taste in waters, and you also say that fruit.
Yes. Rasohamapsu, Kaunteya. Rasa also is Spurti of Lord. In that way, as I said, everything is Lord. Okay. Now, these are the 8 plus 1 types of Avatara. Now comes the question, why? Why Bhagavan has to take Avatara? Avatara Kritya. What is the Avatara Kritya of Bhagavan? Why Bhagavan has to take these Avataras? See, Bhagavan is Sarva Shakta, no? He can just think and everything will happen. Isn't it? There's no need for Bhagavan to come down. Why? If Bhagavan is Sarva Shakta, he can just, as the Supreme Lord, he can just wish. By mere wish, he created this universe. By mere wish, he sustains it. And by mere wish, he, dissolves everything back to him. Can't he just, now Ravana has come. Can't he just wish that, let the Ravana die? He will die only, what is there? Why should Bhagavan come as Avatara? Says, because there are many reasons. One, first and foremost is, now we are talking about why Avatara, purpose of Avatara. One, Sadhaka Anugraha. Why Bhagavan takes Avatara? Sadhaka Anugraha, in order to bless sadhakas. See, there are different types of spiritual seekers. Some people doesn't need any external help. They can just sit and meditate. Om or Paramatma or all that possible. But most of the people who are extrovert, they need some alambana. They need some support to meditate, and they need some, external support and inspiration to walk this path. So Bhagavan takes different kinds of avatars, so that different kinds of people, they get attracted towards different Mahatmya of Lord, and then they worship him. Some people are naturally attracted towards Shivaji. Some are Rama, Krishna, or some people are attracted towards Devi. Some people are so many. Why? Because we are all, our inner equipment is little different. So Bhagavan, when he takes avatar, then we can meditate. We can sit down and then we can see that, Sri Ramchandra as a small baby, he's just, moving around here and there, or Sri Ramchandra is walking and then Sita Devi is there, and then, Arjuna is walking, or Shri Krishna is, so many things possible for us. Our mind get attracted towards the Lord. So what is the main purpose of avatara? Sadhaka anugraha. Second is a very beautiful concept. Bhagavan takes avatar to meet with siddhas or bhaktas. He likes to be with his bhakta or his siddha. He wants to bless sadhakas, he wants to be with his bhaktas or siddhas. So, he takes avatara. This is a very beautiful concept. In Bhagavad etc., here and then again and again this concept comes. Bhakti Sutra Upanaddaha. Bhagavan is Bhakti Sutra Upanaddaha. Naham vasami vaikunde yoginam hridayeshu va yatra madbhakta gayandi tatratishthami narada. Bhagavan says, Naham vasami vaikunde. I don't like to just stay in this Vaikuntha. Or yoginam hridayeshu, they will be always meditating about, I want to be there where madbhakta gayandi. Where my devotees are singing and then, praising Bhagavan. Today is Ashadhi Ekadashi, with thousands of people will be mad with the love of God and singing Bhagavan's Nama, and they are in ecstasy and Bhagavan is there. So why Bhagavan takes avatar? So that Bhagavan can meet Shabadi and eat that fruit which is tasted by her. Bhagavan can meet Bhakta Hanuman. Bhagavan can meet his Gopikas. Bhagavan is always just lying down in this, so boring. So what he does, he comes down so that he can meet. We want to meet Bhagavan. Bhagavan also wants to meet us. So Bhagavan comes down, Siddha Darshanartham. Bhagavan wants to have the darshan of Siddhas and Bhaktas. Now, third one, why Bhagavan is taking the different reasons. Bhakti Shastra, the rishis, all those great Mahatmas, just tell us all this can be the purpose of avatara. Third one is known as the Samashti Prarthana Purana. Samashti Prarthana. Why Bhagavan takes birth? Because Samashti Prarthana. What is Samashti Prarthana? You read, any Purana, Ramayana, etc. We see, poor Bhumi Devi, she goes to Brahmaji and Brahma, I can't bear these horrible people, they are killing and looting in the name of, religion. Oh Bhagavan, save me, save me. Then Brahmaji says, this is not my department, let us go to the department head. And they go to Bhagavan Mahavishnu, and then they cry, and then Bhagavan says, what do you want? Oh, these people, please save me. Okay, Bhagavan comes. Samashti Prarthana. Because the universe want. There's a need of the Lord's manifestation in the universe. In a very, to fulfill one or many aspects. So when Samashti pray, that's why, all of us should every day pray, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Just not tell, pray. Telling, chanting and praying are different. Prayer comes from our heart. And when that becomes very strong, the Lord will come. That is a contract. So, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. So, Samashti Prarthana. Whenever there is a Samashti Prarthana happens, then the Lord incarnates. Now comes the fourth. Fourth is Marga Darshana. Marga Darshana. What is Margadarshanam? Margadarshanam means to show us the path with his life or teachings, or by both. He teaches us, no, by his life. Martyavadarastu manuja shikshanaya. Why Bhagavan take the birth as a human being? Manuja shikshanaya, to teach, to show the path. So Sri Ramchandra incarnated, and with his life he showed what is dharma. Maryada Purushottamaha. Now dharma. What is dharma? If you want to know, Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra by his life, and Sri Krishna by his teaching. It's not that Bhagavan's life was something, but we cannot imitate Sri Krishna. We should imitate, Sri Ramachandra, and we should study Sri Krishna. So through their life and teachings, Bhagavan want to show the path. So that is another purpose of this. Now comes the fifth one, Bhakta Rakshana. Next one is Bhakta Rakshana. Whenever a true devotee is in danger, the Lord comes. Whenever there is a true devotee is in danger, the Lord appears there. Like Prahlada, like the that Gajendra. Gajendra was about to die, and that time only he remembered Bhagavan. The moment he remembered Bhagavan, Bhagavan appeared. Draupadi, yeah, like that. Bhakta Rakshanam. In order to protect that Bhakta, Sri Krishna, that's why Sri Krishna's life usually all this. Okay, then this, like in this, especially the Hari Avatara. Hari Avatara is that avatara of Bhagavan to protect this Gajendra. Just because, in order to protect his Bhakta. Name Bhaktaha Pranashyati. We should write it in our heart. What is that? Name Bhakta Pranashyati. This is Bhagavan's word, that his Bhakta shall never perish. So Bhagavan comes again and again to protect Bhakta. Then comes Dushta Shikshanam. Dushta Shikshanam means what? To punish. Punish whom? All the wicked people. See, Bhagavan is the Antaryami of everyone, isn't it? So Bhagavan is the Antaryami of Dushta also, Shishta also. Then how can Bhagavan punish? See, actually punishment is not like the punishment what we think. There's a very beautiful, what are the main avatars of Bhagavan? Whether it is Varaha avatar, whether it is Narasimha avatar, Rama avatar, Krishna avatar. Why these all avatars were there? Many purposes, but one purpose was Sri Ramchandra's, one of the main purpose of avatara is to kill Ravana. Ravana Kumbhakarna Nigraha. And as Varaha and Narasimha, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Mardana. And Sri Krishna Avatara, Bhagavan killed Shishupala and Dandavartra. Who were they? They were actually Jaya and Vijaya. So we see that Bhagavan is punishing them. He's actually punishing him. He's actually helping them. So although we say Dushta Shikshanam, actually it is Dushta Shikshanam for Bhagavan, because even as a Shikshanam, Bhagavan is actually saving them. There's a very beautiful prayer in there's a Devi Mahatmya. See, mother appeared and killed Mahishasura and many of these demons. Then Devadas are praising mother. Says, E birhate jagadupaiti sugham tadhete kurvandu nama narakaya chiraya papam sangrama mrityumadhigamya divam prayandu matvedi nuna mahidan vinahamsi Devi. Who is Devi? Bhagavati is the mother. She is the mother of Devatas and she is the mother of Asuras also. Then how can she come and kill these Asuras? Says here, it's not because of because of hatred, because of kripa, because of love, mother killed Mahishasura. Why? Says, Kurvandu nama narakaya chiraya papam. They have done so much of papa and all of them will go to Naraka. So if I kill them, then what happens? They will not go to Naraka, all of them will go to Veera Surga. So actually, we say Dushta Shikshanam, but it's not Dushta Shikshana, that's all. That's why when Bhagavan killed Shishupala in that Rajasuya Yaga, what happened? A light came from him, Shishupala, and became one with the Lord. So why I am telling this? Sometimes we may think, why Bhagavan is so partial? Bhagavan is so partial towards Devatas. There is no partiality. Whether when he protects or when he punishes, both is actually anugraha only. So Bhakta Rakshanam, Dushta Shikshanam. Now comes a very beautiful one. Next is Ajnana Athava Papa Haranam. Why Bhagavan takes up the birth? In order to remove Ajnana, ignorance. We studied, no? Jnanavatara. Jnanavatara is for what? Jnanavatara is to remove the Ajnana. So in our understanding, in Indian understanding, Papa is nothing but ignorance. If a person is committing sins, why? Because of ignorance. So Papa is synonym for Ajnana. As long as Ajnana is there, so long we will commit mistakes. So why Bhagavan comes again and again? To remove the Ajnanam, to remove the Papa Vritti. Now that which is there in each one of us to commit different kinds of sin. That is known as Papa Vritti, that is known as Ajnana. Ajnana Haranam. Then eighth one is Jnana Punya Pradhanam. It's not that Bhagavan only removes Ajnana, he removes Ajnana and he gives Jnanam. No, he gives Punya. So, because Bhagavan is there, we worship Bhagavan. Because we worship Bhagavan, we get Punya. No? So, that is Jnana Punya Pradhanam. Now, last one is Dharma Rakshanam. Dharma Rakshanam. Establishment of Dharma. So, what is Dharma? All this put together is Dharma. So, in one word, why Bhagavan is incarnating? One word answer. What is one word answer of Bhagavan's Avatara Kritya? Dharma Sthapana. What is Dharma Sthapana? All this. Dharma Sthapana. Now, Paritranaya Vinashaya Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So, what is the main thing is Dharma Samsthapanam. How he does it? Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya. How he does the Paritrana of Sadhu? Anugraha, Darshana, Prarthana, Marga Darshana, Bhakta Rakshana, Ajnana Nashana, Jnana Sama. All days Bhagavan does the Dharma Samsthapanam. When Dharma is established, what happens? All adharmas are vanished. So what we have studied, what is the meaning of Avatara? Why Avatara? What are the purpose of Avatara? What are the different types of Avatara? So these are some aspects of Avatara. Okay, anything you want to discuss? Nothing? Wow.
ഇതില് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള മിക്കവാറും അവതാരങ്ങള് ഏകദേശം ഒരു ഭാരതദേശം കേന്ദ്രീകരിക്കാനുള്ള കാരണം എന്താണ്? കാരണം ഭൂമി വിശാലമായി കിടക്കല്ലേ, അവിടെ ആഫ്രിക്ക അമേരിക്ക ഒക്കെ ഉള്ള രാജ്യങ്ങളില്ലേ, അപ്പൊ ഇവിടെയുള്ള ഈ ഒരു ഭക്തരെ ഈ പ്രദേശത്തെ പ്രത്യേകം പരിഗണിച്ച് ഇവിടെ അവതരിക്കാനും അവിടങ്ങളിലൊന്നും ഭഗവാന്റെ ഒരു അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു സ്വാധീനം ഇല്ലാതിരിക്കാനുള്ള കാരണം എന്താണ്?
മത്സ്യം, കൂർമ്മം, വരാഹം, നൃസിംഹം, വാമനം, ഇത്രയും അവതാരങ്ങൾ, this where actually happened we do not know. They say Vamanavatar happened in Iraq, we do not know. Okay, they say that Mahabali's Patana was there. Anyhow, so see, slowly we have studied in the last class also, because this Bharata Desha is kind of the spiritual battery of this entire universe. Bharata. Okay, those according to our understanding, okay, Rishi's understanding, they say the Bhumi, Bharata Bhumi is the Karma Bhumi, the Dharma Bhumi. All other places are Bhoga Bhumi. What do you mean by Bhoga Bhumi? The places where you can enjoy. In this Bharata Desha is place where we can actually, acquire punya. Okay, now again, Bharata is not, when they speak about Bharata, is not a geographical area. What is Bharata? Bhasi ramate iti Bharata. What is the meaning of Bharata? Bha means prakasha. Rataha, bhasi rama. Okay, so bhasi ramate iti Bharata. So any place where there is an inclination for higher understanding and life, that land is known as Bharata. There is a, now this they say Bharata means Bhava, Raga, Tala. So where the land where Bhava is there, Raga is there, Tala is there, that land is Bharata. Okay. Now, why Bhagavan incarnated as Krishna and Rama in this land? See, if you really read the Indian world history, we see that those areas, those times, most of the world was they were walking, they were in a very uncultured, let us say, uncivilized places. I am not criticizing or anything. When Krishna etc. was there 5,000 years back, of course Egypt might have been, now that's another thing. See, in a way we feel, if you read Indian history from Indian view, we feel that there could be different civilizations. Those civilizations got lots of understanding and energy from India. Okay, the entire Egyptian culture, what we say, if you read from our Indian perspective, it's a very different thing. No, everything, all their gods are very much like our gods. No, their supreme god is known as Ra. Have you heard this word? Ra. This is a Sanskrit shabda. Raha, Rayau, Rayah. Ra means the supreme, the king. From this only that we have many Ravu, etc. Comes from Raja. Comes from this. So, and their life was that river. What was the name of that river? That river? Nile. There's a Sanskrit pada, Neelaha. Neelaha means what? Blue. That river is known as the Blue River. Now, and the entire what you call pyramids, that pyramids, as those things, not actually a what you call the tomb. The pyramids were, in our system also, in Tantric traditions, we have Mahameru. Have you heard about Mahameru? The pyramid actually is a Mahameru structure. And where there is a king's chamber, if you read little bit of Egyptian culture, you see that there is the pyramid, and this, of course, the body of these kings were there, but there is a main chamber in the center of this entire pyramid. Why? They do not know. It's known as, that is the Hridaya, where the meditation and spiritual practice is. Anyhow, so there is lots of connection with us. Anyhow, so this land, this is a very special land where this entire Bhumi is like a Adho-Trikona. Okay, this Adho-Trikona is a very important sign in the Tantric and Indian tradition. Our entire Bhumi, they say this is the point, the Bindu of this entire spiritual traditions. So they believe if Dharma is strong in India, in Bharat, this word India is also a Bharat, if Bharate Dharmo asti chet, if Dharma is there in Bharata, even if Adharma is there other places, again and again the waves of spiritual energy can go from here. So Bhagavan again and again and again came to this Bharatavarsha in order to protect this Dharma of this land. Why? Because if Dharma is here, it can spread into other parts of the world. Now this can be a very biased view of Hindus, but it is said in the Shastra. Okay, even Manusmriti. Manusmriti says that if any people of this universe want to know what is Satya, what is Dharma, what is their origin, they should come to Bharata and learn it. It says in Manusmriti. Even in the there's a verse in Veda, Rigveda, Krunvandu Vishwam Aryam. No, we should go into the different corners of the world and give them this message of Vedas. Aryam is not go and convert. This is not a conversion, is not there. Share these great ideas. So this is the heart of this entire world, entire Bhumi is this Bharatavarsha. Could be because of that Bhagavan comes again and again and again to this land.
Why is it that in some scriptures people not to go overseas? There is some.
Yeah, see, this came actually maybe in the after the 10th century. This restriction for not to cross the oceans came only after 10th century. Up to that, that's what I was saying. That's why we used to spread into length and breadth of this entire earth. Then slowly what happens? They saw that the other areas of the world is maybe Christianity and Islamic etc. is becoming very strong, and then they thought if these people go out, there are possibilities of they lose their dharma. So slowly that restriction came, that because there's a Kartik Purnima in I think in the Orissa and all those places where they actually makes boats, means like paper boats, and put it in the water. Because that was the day we used to start our journey after the monsoon is over. This there I think in Goa also, they have that Nariyal Purnima, what is that? So why that's the day they start their journey. So there was like up to 10th century, this was not there. After 10th century, now Islam and Christianity becoming very prominent in other parts of the world, and then this restriction came that we should not cross the oceans. Only after that. Because we see in the, if you read the Sanskrit Natakas etc., we see that people are crossing, they are going out, and then they are bringing great wealth back to the land and all that. Only after this, because they don't want to lose they want to protect this dharma. That's the.
Kalki avatar which is being said.
Kalki is not yet come. It will come. Not yet come. According to us, Kalki is yet to come. Almost at the end of this Kali Yuga, Bhagavan will come, will incarnate and destroy all the negative forces, and will establish dharma, and then again Satya Yuga will start. So according to the Purana, Kalki is not yet incarnated. Kalki is only in the end of this Kali, which is only 5,000 years now, much more time to go, then Bhagavan will incarnate as Kalki. That's the Puranic version. Okay. Now, next is a very important aspect of our rishis and gurus. Rishi and Guru. Why together? You can learn them different also. We can make it two different subjects also. But they are very connected to each other. So we are putting just them together. Rishi and Guru. Who is a Rishi? Who is a Rishi? Huh? What is that? Mantra Drashta. Mantra Drashta. Okay. Anything else? Rishi, Rishiraj Singh, no? Rishi. Tapas. Rishi is a tapasvi, Rishi is a mantra drashta, and Tattvajnani. Rishi is a tapasvi, Rishi is a mantra drashta, Rishi is a Tattvajnani. Yes. Any more Rishi? Have you heard about Vamsha or Gotra? So who is a Rishi? Gotra Pravartaka. We Bharadwaja Gotra, Vasishta Gotra, Vishwamitra Gotra. Okay. So Rishi is also a Gotra Pravartaka. Now what do we got? Rishi is a Mantra Drashta, Rishi is a Tattvajnani, Rishi is a Tapasvi, Rishi is also Gotra Pravartaka. Any more? Rishi, we hear this word, I am sure the entire Margadrashtara, the one who shows the path. Okay. What is the meaning of Arsham? We always call our land as Arsha Bharat. What is the meaning of Arsha? Arsha means that belongs to Rishi. Rishi that belongs to Rishi becomes Arsham. Now we are going to just learn the word meaning. Okay. R is a Sanskrit pada, R letter. R shati iti rishihi. R means shabdaha. In Sanskrit, R, just word, that letter R also means shabda, sound, word, let us say word, that's a better word. Shabda means not bo. Shabda means what? Meaningful word. Okay. So, R means shabda. In Sanskrit, shabda means, what it means is word. Okay. R and shati, she means what? One who speak. Means what? 1 minute. Rishi means through him, through whom the divine word manifested. What is Rishi? Rishi is the one through him, through whom the word manifested. Adiyil vachanam undai. No, vachanam daivattodu koodi. Vachanam മനുഷ്യനിലേക്ക് നമ്മിലേക്ക് എത്തിയത് ആരിലൂടെയാണോ അയാളുടെ പേരാണ് എന്ത്? ഋഷി. ഈശ്വരീയമായ ജ്ഞാനം നമ്മിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരാനുള്ള മാധ്യമമാണ് ഋഷി. What is Rishi? Rishi is that media through which the divine knowledge manifests. R nama shabda. Shidi means to express. So the Shabda, what is Shabda? Brahma. No, Nada Brahma. That Nada Brahma manifested in this world through some people. Such people are known as Rishi. Now there is another definition also. Rish, rish, to know. Rish, to know. Jnane. Rish, jnane. That's a dhatu, Sanskrit dhatu, a verb root. Rish, jnane, to know. So who is Rishi? The knower. Who is Rishi? No. Arano arinyata. Rishi ariyal. Rishi arinyavan. The one who experienced. What? That we will see. So who is Rishi? In two words. Rishi is the one who, through whom the divine word manifested. Second, Rishi is the person, the one who actually knew, the one who experienced, the one who taught. We will see the different beautiful aspect of Rishi in next class.